Hey everyone, this is Ph33roX. Today I'm gonna do the first Leakfinder out of 8 that I gave to the 2+2 community. All of them should be about 20 minutes. It's been a while since I made a video and I'm sure glad to be back, so hopefully we run into some interesting spots here. First hand we face a limp, so right off the bat I'm going to assume our opponent would be more passive than average. Checking back Jack 6 is good. Check all the flop. On the turn we have a pretty clear call given that he only bets 40, and river is pretty annoying. It's obviously not a card that is likely to help his range, however I think we should be folding here. My range for calling a 3-barrel in a limped pot first hand is probably pretty tight, because I do believe that the average 3-barreling frequency here would be pretty low. 10-8 makes sense, 9-7, Jack-7, and he can have a king too because we don't know yet what his limping range looks like. I do think it's a pretty exploitable fold. I mean, given that we raise so many of our Jack-X and King-X pre-flop and check raise many value hands on the flop, since it's a limped pot and the SPR is so deep, it's probably one of the better hands we get to the river with. But while it's good to know that you're making an exploitable fold, I think it shouldn't stop us from making it in this case, because the average villain just won't 3-barrel wide enough to exploit us. I think the fold on the flop with King 10 is way too tight. I think we are ahead here a good percentage of the time, and this is a spot where position matters a lot. I would check all here out of position, and I would certainly call a flop lead, given that we um, do make him act first on the next street, and I think he would slow down a lot and allow us to realize our equity. And of course hitting a king or a 10 will give us the best hand like 95% of the time. So I definitely don't like just giving up here. I think the go here is okay readless. Personally I would just jam pre, but I think either way is fine. Looks good. So our opponent seems to be limping most of his playing range in position. My standard here would be 35, but given it's a dry board, I don't think it matters a ton. The fact that he check folded here might hint that his donk bet on the other hand was for value, or maybe that he just likes messing around on paired boards, but that's something to keep in mind. I like the limp here. I'm definitely not open folding against him at this point. Stabbing looks good. Once we get raised, there's nothing we can do. Checking back is fine. And this is actually a spot where I like leading. I know we only have a backdoor straight draw and overcards to bottom pair, but I think that he will have enough hands in his range with 2 undercards to the jack to make a bet of 33 be worth it. Also a hand like Queen 5 suited that he limped, I can definitely see him folding here, so I would go ahead and try to win this one. After he checks back, I think I'm not sure if I like betting. He did bet the 10-8 straight draw in the first hand, so it does look like he has some showdown value now, and we don't have any equity, so I think just check folding is fine. I don't like the 6 deuce fold. I think he's showing no pre-flop aggression so far, so I would just try to play every hand in small blind for now. Looks good. So the first hand that he decided to raise is Queen 10 offsuit. He checked back the flop with a decent draw, stepped once on the turn and then gave up. Uh, all of those things could be useful when we try to assess his ranges later on, so we'll try to remember that. Yeah, I think I will be checking back here. The limp does look pretty suspicious, and I think I would just give up. I think it's pretty close to a Nash call against the shove, but I think we can make a somewhat tighter than Nash fold here. Looks good. You would be calling a bet here if he decided to bet the river. So I like how you play that hand. I think some people would be missing out on getting value on the turn. I would consider limping this, but I think shoving is fine too. He won't be calling as wide as Nash, so there's some extra value in just winning the pot pre-flop. Uh, Jack for offsuit shove, on the other hand, is too wide. I think we can jam wider than Nash against this opponent because from what we've seen from him, I expect him to not call wide enough. But I think 7 big blinds is a little too much. I think limping is a viable option though, even at 7 big blinds versus this guy, so I think it's the option I like best. Well played. So this I think I would prefer to jam pre. The equity from jamming is going to be great, especially if it doesn't call wide enough. I would much rather limp a way weaker hand against him at 10 big blinds and just open shove 10-9. As played, we're obviously going to go 3 streets here and we get coolered, so good game. So new game and new opponent. Our opponent 5x's first hand, so first thing that comes to mind is that he's probably pretty bad and pretty spewy. Ace deuce offsuit is a pretty easy fold here. Raise king 9 looks good. Checking back the 10-7 is fine. I think I would opt for a check raise here, but our opponent checks back. On the turn, I think I would bet full pot because the pot is so small and I don't think people are folding draws. But 30 is not bad, and On the river, I think I would go a little bigger, but only slightly, maybe 60 or so, because if we bet more, we start folding out too many hands, I think. And he looks us up with ace king. Interesting that he limped ace king pre-flop after 5xing the first hand. Just another indication that he's probably not too good. First 3-bet, have to fold. This is kind of interesting. I think both check calling and check raising has their merits. Check raise could definitely induce a re-raise from air hands in his range, while check calling keeps his range as wide as possible and allows him to either keep bluffing or maybe hit a pair and pay a river bet. I think with the flush draw on board I would lean towards a check raise, but if we do check call here, I think it's pretty nice that we have the second nut backdoor flush draw. Leading the turn is an interesting option to get value from one spade hands and to prevent him from slowing down with ace x on the flush turn. However, I think we would be folding too many hands by doing so, and we want to at least give him a chance to bet them. So check is good. River sizing is a tricky decision. I think an ace is his most likely value hand on this river, followed by 6x and pocket 8s plus, with the least likely holding being a flush. I think if we bet 200 we get looked up here by all of those hands almost always, while there's a realistic chance that he folds pocket pairs and ace-x hands when we go all in. I'm really not sure which I like better without running some serious math on this, so let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments. I think the limp is fine. So usually when it seems like our opponent isn't trapping many value hands, it's good to slow play and let him barrel off. However, here we are short enough and the board offer enough draws that there's a lot of value in just denying him his equity and winning the pot right there. So I think it's a well played hand. Jack 3 offsuit, yeah, again too wide of a shove, 8.5 big blinds deep here. It's actually a lot worse than the Jack 4 offsuit hand in the previous match. Especially since this opponent I don't expect to call as tight as the other one. 9-4 offsuit fold is fine. Queen 10 off is too strong to flat, less than 8 big blinds deep, and I would just get it in pre-flop. As played, this is just an easy call. I really don't like this fold. He could easily have either an 8, a weaker queen, a pocket pair, a flush draw, king jack, king 10, jack 10, jack 9. Just so many hands that we're ahead of, and we're getting more than 1.5 to 1, so this probably stands as the biggest mistake our hero made in this video in terms of cheap CV. I don't like opening 9-3 off, just a few hands after open folding 9-4 off. I think I would go ahead and just fold here too. He seems reasonably active, so I would just let him have it pre-flop. Looks good. my standard here would be 45 or 48. I think the extra few chips are worth it and will induce a little less floats or raises here, but I really don't think it's too big of a deal, and I don't have any solid proof for that either. Once we get called, I think we can put him on either King X, Queen High, or just a random float. So I think a small double barrel of like 78 should win us the pot enough to make it profitable. 100 is a little too big in my opinion, and we can just save 22 chips and still put in the same pressure because of the stack sizes being small. Definitely jamming king 6 suited here. Like the limp here pre-flop. Well played. Miner is calling 8s. Pink a set. Fade a flush draw. Good game. So those two games were pretty long and contained some interesting spots. I won't review the third game because the format is intended to be short. I might review it in a text format and publish it in the comments. There are 7 more videos coming out over the next few weeks, and all of them would be free, so if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my next videos. I'm also coaching again and intend to take many new students, so if you're interested, check out my coaching page on the site for more information. Until the next video, good luck at the table, guys.